Christoph, let's start to focus on organizations. We know by now that some companies seems to be more advanced in successfully coping with digital challenges. Yeah. Others are less successful. So is there kind of a golden rule how companies need to tackle digital challenges?
There actually is none. I'm only able to answer that question out of experience. It's basically a two-folded undertaking from an organizational perspective. So you have to have clear and dedicated top-down leadership, and you have to have clear, willing, and fully accountable execution on kind of the bottom-up perspective.
But when it comes up to the execution piece, isn't the middle management of special importance? I mean, they can block all kinds of things.
And so what we saw across a lot of projects is whenever we had situations or found situations where the CEO decided to directly work with the teams that were in charge, and we're talking about first stages of development, not scaled digital undertakings. When we had a direct link between the top and the people really being in charge, that scaled up the quickest, was executed the best, and was basically overtaken the organization in the pace of development. What we saw in the first wave of development, and that is, we're talking about 5 years ago, really was that understanding of we built those speedboats outside of the organization in order to see speed, in order to see acceleration. What you saw is it basically did not change the core organization. It did not do anything to the culture. What we're now seeing is kind of the, let's say, hybrid perspective of that. So we need to change the core, and we need to have new stuff in the portfolio and tie that together and tie the learnings together.
So how do you manage to, on one side, preserve these traditional type of businesses whilst building a digital, more disruptive type of arm, and make sure that both of these areas are well led? That's a huge challenge for many, many leaders.
I think, so for me, the kind of shiny moments of leadership boil down to my massive fandom, and that's quite true, of the communication that Zehnder put in place back in the days. That communication around both worlds, so the mobility world of Daimler, where they develop Car2Go, MyTaxi, and all of those non-traditional business models, is as important for the company as building the S-Class is. And it's basically financing the investment into the other side and really kind of putting straight that both worlds are important for the company and the people working in there are important for the company. Their change towards mobility, their change towards shared mobility is basically creating fear within the people that build engines, not to mention electronic vehicles, which is kind of adding something else to that as well. And I think that whole notion of telling people that something really new that is outside of their control is part of what their job is, and is part of their moon mission as well. And having clear leadership around that and clear communication around that is the key to having consistency around how you organize your operation. So a portfolio of bets for me always appeals like the kind of best description to that.
When you talk to whether leaders or employees in companies about how they perceive these type of digital transformation processes, you not only can feel the angst, you can feel as well that when you are trying to be part of such a hybrid business model, people in the traditional part of the business sometimes have the feeling of, being the ones who are left back, the traditionalists, the old-fashioned ones. Whilst on the digital side, there are the cool kids, right? The young ones, the different ones who look like you. So, is that true? Is that the look and feel of a modern hybrid organization in digital times?
I think, and I'm still looking for kind of the golden rule, so to say, of how to onboard all on that mission. So a coach that we're working with always tells that story, and I think it's overtold to a certain degree, of the cleaning lady within the NASA building having the feeling of I'm going to the moon. And I think that great leaders in this time are leaders that are capable of creating that feeling across the whole workforce, in the traditional business, supporting financially massively supporting new business models, most of the cases, and within those organizations.